up your Memorial Day.
Big things are coming for Summer Tina.
With The Belchers in theaters. The Bob's Burgers movie, rated PG-13.
Welcome back to Owls Only, an Adult Swim podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Hope, and the theme of this podcast is going to be disgruntled. I'm here with two of my co-hosts today. Alex, you can go first.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a co-host.
And also with us.
Hi, it's Hunter.
So, this is the last chapter of our Loren Bouchard miniseries, and we are talking about the Bob's Burgers movie, which is such a fucking miracle that this movie even exists. Like, in so many ways, this movie is such a miracle. What did you guys think of this? I know you've both seen it before, but what do you think of this movie?
Hunter, you can go first because you probably have a little bit more to say.
As a longtime fan of the show who hasn't seen every episode but has probably seen at least half of the show, I loved this movie. I loved it when I saw it in theaters, and I've loved it every time I've rewatched it.
Hell yeah. Alex?
So, I've not watched much of the show, as I've discussed on the podcast before, but I actually do really enjoy this movie. It's a very fun movie. And it just kind of feels like an episode of the show. Which is like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But,
yeah,
like, I like it. It's easy to get into. You don't need to know anything about the characters to watch it.
Yeah. I would disagree because I feel like this feels much more like cinematic than an episode. Like, this feels huge to me. Like, a big thing that because I am always obsessed with like movie adaptations of cartoons that I like, because like the list of my favorite movies is just like Aqua Teen movie, Steven Universe movie, like that kind of shit. So when this got announced back in 2017, which is, they fucking announced this in like fall 2017, which is insane how long ago that was.
I never knew that.
It was announced in fall 2017 for a release date of July 2020. And I don't think they delayed it until COVID happened, right? Am I misremembering that, Hunter?
I think you're right.
I don't think they delayed it until COVID happened, which is wild because apparently they worked on this movie every single second up until like the release. So I have no idea if the movie was gonna get delayed anyway, or if like there is a much different version that would have come out in July 2020. But whatever it is, the movie is like the movie did not come out in July 2020. Obviously, it came out about 2 years later in May 2022. And for so long, we had no idea if this movie was actually going to happen.
Yeah,
because
I remember the limbo.
Yes, the limbo was insane for this movie because I'm going to be upfront. I always loved Bob's Burgers, and it was never one of my like favorites like Archer or Futurama or King of the Hill or something. But the prospect of them having a movie made me lose my fucking mind, because it is, like I said, the reason why we're doing this on this podcast is because it is an Adult Swim movie. Like, all the major players here are like Adult Swim people, and I was just so excited to like be able to get the chance to like to hear H. John Benjamin's voice in like Dolby Digital speakers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, I was just so fucking excited for this movie, and I think it helped me appreciate the show more, like getting it, because I mean, Bob's was always the only one that I watched like weekly up until like recently when I started watching all of Animation Domination weekly. But like Bob's was such a huge, like, I think I got into it more over the wait for this movie. And I remember like fall 2019, and I was like, we should have more information than not at all about this movie. And then that kind of limbo continued up until like fall 2021, essentially.
Yeah, I remember when the trailer came out.
It was insane.
Yeah, you were very happy.
Because this movie was, like I said, scheduled for July 2020. COVID happens. They delay it like a little less than a year to April 2021 because Lauren says that they were like dead set on this movie being out in theaters because they didn't want it to be just like a home release. Like, so glad they did that because this movie is like it was beautiful in theaters. Like, I'm so glad that they waited to put this in theaters, especially because we never get like 2D animation in theaters like nowadays. But so yeah, they had it delayed until April 2021, and then again, no news, no poster, no trailer, no synopsis, nothing until January 2021 when they don't even delay it again. They just take it off the schedule. Like they're just like, we're postponing this movie indefinitely. Which so it's just kind of like, oh, so this movie may just never come out, you know?
Yeah, I remember you like coming to terms with that at the dorm. You were
like,
like, oh yeah, it may be done.
yeah, like this movie might just not come out. Like because this is obviously COVID. This is right when they killed it's when they killed William Street and stuff. Like all the fucking bets are off at this point in time in the media landscape. So it's just like, oh, this movie may just be like not a thing. But all the cast members and everyone on the crew was insisting on Twitter up and down that it was still gonna happen. You could find pictures of like the crew jacket and stuff on like Instagram, which I thought was like for so long we had like such little crumbs to go off of. Like the two things we knew about the movie from like Comic-Con 2018 was that they're gonna talk about how Louise got her ears and they were gonna talk about like Bob's mom and stuff. Those are the two main things we knew about. And we also knew it was gonna be a musical. Those were like the only things we knew about the movie, and then you get like little crumbs. Like we knew there were crew shirts they posted on Instagram, and one had like the duck on it. So the duck was one of the first things we knew about this movie, like the duck from the Lucky Duck song,
Mm.
like the rubber duck design. And then one of them is like it was like a hoodie, and like the little zipper on the hoodie was like the dead man's tooth, but I had no idea what the fuck it was. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like it did not register as a tooth to me. I was just staring at it like, what the fuck am I looking at? But after a very, very, very long delay, I think they released a poster, and they released a poster and a release date in fall 2021, and then in January they released like the first trailer, and then they really ramped up the marketing after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I one of the things I was most anxious about with this movie is I really wanted to see how it looked, because I know they said like one of the first things they said was they were going to like really upgrade the animation style for this movie. And I really do love, like, you've seen there's a meme on Twitter where it's like the movies and the cartoons, they become movies, and it's just like that really well shaded like Peter Griffin image. But like I fucking love that. I love when cartoons like become movies. It's my favorite shit in the world. And so I was so anxious to see what this movie looked like.
It's really cool.
You know?
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of like how this movie looks like visually?
Visually, it looks really impressive. I think it was worth waiting for because the show itself looks good, but the movie looks so much better than anything from the show.
It looks insane. Alex, you have anything?
I mean, I don't have as much of a frame of reference because I can't really recall exactly what the show looks like on a like episode to episode basis, but I do agree with Hunter. It was definitely worth the wait if that's where they put most of their focus.
It looks like
it was definitely worth the wait.
Yes. It looks like a fucking Ghibli movie. You know what I mean? Like the shading in it and just like the color palette, it's so like vibrant. It like pops off the screen. Like there was nothing in theaters in the past couple years that looks like this. But a lot of the reasons is because we don't really get like 2D animation that often, because that's just not a thing they do anymore in theaters. But like this fucking like I just can't, like every single time I watch this movie I'm taken aback by like how beautiful it looks, especially because like this was because like a huge point of this miniseries is talking about how like they evolved, the entire crew evolved from doing like Adult Swim stuff to like being in theaters next to like, you know, like Marvel movies and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting if you go back and because watch like the Squiggle Vision episodes of home movies, and then you come back and watch this fucking beautiful, gorgeous, cinematic looking movie. It's so cool to see how far they come.
I made the joke when we were watching it, the one scene where they're getting the burger cart and they open the cooler and it shows all the ingredients. I made the joke that the ingredients looked like those Twitter posts where it's like anime food be looking so good.
Yeah.
That's actually funny. Yeah, no,
And go ahead.
I was just gonna say I do really like the art style, and sorry, I had to move away from my microphone. I do really like the art style, and I think that comparing it to Studio Ghibli is actually pretty apt.
Yeah, like I'm holding the steelbook right now, and like the steelbook art is just like it's just like the storefront, and then the back is kind of like the street, and then you open it up, and it's like the interior of the kitchen, and they made the discs look like dinner plates and stuff. Um, so also we'll do a little bit of a merch corner here. So they put this movie out on Blu-ray. They also put it on 4K, but only at Best Buy and only in this steelbook, and it was available for like a week. So, this movie is really, really hard to find on 4K because you have to get this steelbook, and it's like fucking $80 on eBay. So I'm very glad I pre-ordered mine.
So you're based,
It's
basically.
it's it's such a good release. They also they put so much love and care into this like Blu-ray release that I really wish this show was able to get Blu-ray releases. It has one real DVD and the rest are just kind of like made on demand. But like this thing is full of it has commentary, it has deleted scenes, it has featurettes, it has like animated menus. Also it has a fucking Easter egg. Remember those like on DVDs?
I mean, I know what Easter eggs are. I was never.
I know Hunter knows.
Yeah, a bunch of the old Adult Swim sets have a ton of Easter eggs on them, like the Brack Show DVDs where you like press directions that basically don't make sense to press, where it's like I can only move up or down to select things. What if I press left and then it goes to something completely off the menu and it gives you like a little clip?
Yeah. Like the Aqua Teen one where it just shows like it is show like the one in the Aqua Teen DVD where it shows like the Aqua Teen guys doing like Foley and like their yard and stuff like that, which is so fun. But so do you know there's one on this Blu-ray, Hunter?
Yes, I don't remember what it is, but I believe I know that it's there.
So I looked at it today, and it's so the one of the directors of this movie, Bernard Derriman, he's like this Australian guy who he's been directing on the show for like a while, and he's one of the directors on this movie, and if you go to like the audio tracks, one of the audio options is Australian mono, which like obviously Australian is not a language, so you press on the arrow a bunch of times until it says the unicycle story, and you click on it, and it's like Bernard Derriman he like animated this story from his childhood about like this unicycle thing. It's cool. Really cool. It's a beautiful little extra they put in there, but they put so much love and care into this Blu-ray that like movies don't get nowadays. Like I have a lot to like I took notes because I watched all the bonus features today in preparation for this because we watched the movie last night. I took so many notes on like the bonus features and stuff that we can get into. But yeah, I think this is the gold standard for like adapting cartoons to like movies. What do you guys think? Like animation wise at least.
Oh, 100%.
Hunter.
Yeah, I agree. This really stands out as one of the best ones visually.
Like it's insane to me. It's so cinematic. I just love everything about it. Like two of the shots that always stick in my mind are when like the actual sinkhole opens up and it cuts to like that family on like the fucking Ferris wheel, and you see like the entire town. And then every time I saw that in theaters, I'm like, I need to pause that and just like stare at it. And also
how
when
many
they're
times
at
did you see it in theaters?
5. I saw it in theaters 5 times. Nice. We're gonna break it down.
All right.
I only saw it twice.
I think I saw it twice, right?
Yeah, both times with me.
Yeah, Eli and I got drunk the second time on accident, I think.
No, it was the first time. We'll break it down. And also like the fish odor's house, like when they're at the fish odor house, and you see like Hunter, have you seen the episode where they have like the water balloon fight in the fish odor maze for like low rent?
Yeah.
Great episode.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a fucking episode. Dude. Go ahead.
There's something I want to call back to talking about the physical release of this and Best Buy. Both of us actually got ours a few days before street date because Best Buy doesn't care and they just send their stuff out early.
Yup, that's what I'm pounding on
like,
the Venture
is
Brothers
that
movie.
like consistently the case?
Yes, every time.
That's so fucking funny.
If you want something early, buy it from Best Buy. That's why when the Venture movie pre-orders drop, I'm getting it from Best Buy because that's my best chance to get it early.
Is that video games
What'd you say?
too? Is that video games too?
I don't know. I think it's I don't. Maybe not.
Okay, I was about to say because if it was, I probably would have known about it. But I'm 20.
I know it's
22
Blu-rays.
years old. Didn't know this. Easy fucking hack.
Yeah, I know it's, but like also, it's not a fucking hack for anybody except for the people. Like, it's not a hack for anybody except for Hunter and I because everyone else can wait like 3 days for a movie they've already fucking seen. You know what I mean?
No, dude.
But
that shit needs to go on my shelf.
it's a hack for me. But anyways,
exactly
no, that
what you
episode.
mean.
What?
I just said I know exactly what you mean. That shit's got to go on the shelf.
That episode with because you were like surprised by that episode where they have to like fight over rent. The episode ends with Fishoder saying if anybody can hit Bob with a water balloon, then they get free rent for a year or something, and like Bob has to pay their rent or something. It's fucked up, that episode.
Because his whole thing is he's just like a rich asshole, right?
Yes, but I think that their relationship is very interesting because when I saw the trailers for this movie, I was like, okay, so they're gonna make Mr. Fishoder the villain, but I kind of realize now that's a bit of a misunderstanding of the show and its dynamics because obviously Mr. Fishoder is like a horrible asshole, but something that you pick up when you watch the show is that he really does like he has like some sort of weird like man crush / like great appreciation for Bob and what Bob does. He just likes to keep him on his fucking toes because like so much of this show is just Fishoder wanting to like do stuff with Bob or get Bob's input because like he genuinely does respect Bob and he respects the fact that like he does do this, like he does run his restaurant the way he wants it to, so he just wants him to pay rent on time more often, but he does genuinely let the Belchers slide on rent for like, you know, way longer than most landlords would. So obviously he's like a rich asshole, but I do think that Fishoder genuinely likes Bob and does want to help him like most of the time.
Well, that makes him a better character, I think.
For sure.
He'd be less interesting if he was just a rich asshole.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be much less interesting if he was just like an evil asshole. But no, I don't think he likes the rest of the Belchers quite as much, but he genuinely really likes and respects Bob, which I think is a really interesting dynamic to like have in this show and in this movie.
One thing about this movie is like I'm not someone who likes whodunits. Like I don't like those. I don't like mystery stuff. And I wouldn't say that this movie. I guess it is like a mystery, like whodunit.
It is. Yeah, it's a murder mystery.
But like. I actually really like this, like the plot line of it specifically with like who actually ended up being the killer.
Yeah.
I found that interesting because I don't usually like that stuff, but they did it in a very good, like endearing way.
There's a lot of stuff that kind of because like so much of this movie because like this movie doesn't do things that were in the show, but a lot of episodes from the show that DNA is in this movie. Like, is it Felix's first appearance where he tries to kill them, Hunter, or am I remembering that wrong?
Can you give more context?
The Wonder Wharf 2-parter where Felix ties him up underneath the pier.
I think it might be.
It's like either his first appearance or like his second appearance. But like in like the early seasons, they ended their season with like a 2-part episode where Felix, the one played by Zach Galifianakis, like the younger brother, he ties up Bob and Fishoder underneath the pier and like almost drowns them, and the rest of the family have to like rescue them. And that's remember when I said that like his girlfriend is voiced by Jordan Peele?
Yes.
Because that was way before Get Out and stuff. So Jordan Peele was just on Key and Peele. So he was just a comedy actor. So he was in stuff like Bob's Burgers all the time, and he played Felix's girlfriend in that 2-parter who like kind of forced Felix to do this and also tries to kill the Belchers as well. so like I feel like they brought her back almost just as a red herring in this movie to make you think, because I thought, like, I really had no idea what they're like, where they were going with Grover. I 100% thought it was gonna be, oh, so it's gonna turn out that Fanny did it again. Like, I thought it was gonna be that like they're setting something up with like his girlfriend because they brought her back for like the first time since that two-parter. But I do think that was more of like a red herring type thing.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought that, so like part of the what the fuck am I trying to say? I'm sorry. Part of the thing with me not watching the actual show is that like I didn't know any of these people really. Like I knew the Belchers and I knew Fish Odor. That's pretty much it. But no, what was the brother's name?
Felix, or
Yeah,
are you talking about Felix?
the one with the girlfriend.
Yeah, Felix.
Yeah, no, every scene that they were in was the funniest scene in the show for me, just because the girlfriend's such a fucking character.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, yeah, the whole two-part episode is just Jordan Peele doing that voice and like being evil. It's
I
awesome.
might watch it.
Oh,
just because it's so. Does she act like that? No one's gonna get this, but you and I. But does she act like Julian the whole time in that movie, in that episode too?
No, I feel like she's more a different character, but
That's funny.
it's still one of like the top 5 episodes of the show. I think like that whole two-parter is like it's so good. Do you agree, Hunter?
Yeah, I agree. Another thing about Felix's girlfriend is one bit from the movie I find really funny is when Felix is just trying to show her his outfit and she just refuses to look at it.
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
best. That's the funniest scene in my opinion, just because
It's so funny.
it makes me laugh.
But this movie has also like a lot of other stuff in it, like the 100th episode of the show, which came out in 2016, so about like a year before they announced this movie, is like an episode about Louise accidentally gluing Bob to the toilet before he's supposed to do like a huge magazine interview, and it's like they have a really really good song in it, a really like cinematic song where like Louise, because like Louise, especially in the first couple seasons, is very much of like a shitpost character, like each season gives her more depth. I feel like each season has one episode where she has like a really big, like, not dramatic, but like at least emotional moment, mostly with Bob, which is why they're the two best characters. But there was a really good song called "Bad Stuff Happens in the Bathroom" about like it's about like how Louise feels about the fact that she may have legitimately fucked Bob over this time, and it's like it's so good. I remember watching that episode. I'm like, oh, this is like I watched that episode again after the movie was announced, and I was like, oh, this is like a proof of concept for the movie because this proves they could make like a really great, riveting musical, and they did. Like, it's so good. Um, Go ahead.
Actually rewatched that episode like a week ago or a couple of days ago because the bad stuff happens in the bathroom song is one of the ones I have on my like YouTube music playlist, so it will come on a lot when I'm driving. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I've heard this song enough times. I need to like see it in full context again.
It's I think like beyond the songs in this movie, I think it's the best song in the show. It's so good. And then the episode directly after that, Fluise, is about Louise. It's another episode about Louise and like her relationship with the rest of the family, where they melt her Coochie Kopi nightlight, and she has like a fever dream slash fantasy where she interacts with all the toys, which you see again in this movie, where she goes to them for advice about how to deal with Chloe Barbash calling her a baby. Like you see, like they bring those elements from the show back into the movie, but like you obviously haven't seen that episode, Alex, but you didn't have to because you got it, you know?
Yeah, no, I got it.
Like,
Oh, go on.
no, go ahead.
No, mine's not. It's a new topic, so go on.
Okay, but like I was saying, it's just like they bring in all this stuff. Like they bring in all this stuff from the show, like all these characters. Even Grover is in the show. Like Grover, I think they started putting Grover in the show during the lead up to the movie, so it would like throw you off more, which I think is fucking insane and awesome. Because this movie gets announced while season 8 is airing, and starting in season 9, Grover becomes like a recurring character on the show. So like Grover is part of. I mean, he's only in 3 episodes, but like, if you're like I had to look him up because I don't know the later seasons as well as the earlier seasons, so I had to look him up when I saw him on the poster. But if you're like a Bob's Burgers super fan, like you don't know that's supposed you don't think that guy's a new character. You know what I mean? Like you think, oh, that's just one of the fish odors. Like he's because he's there. You know, he's in the show before this movie, and I think it's really cool because I don't think a lot of
I get what you're saying. You don't think anything of it.
yeah, I don't think a lot of shows going to like movies like this, I don't think a lot of them would take a character they can mine comedy out of and from their supporting cast like that and make them a villain. So I think it's really cool and interesting that they did that.
Yeah, I agree.
You had something you want to say?
Yeah, it was super unrelated, but one of the reasons I never got into the show, this might be controversial. You know the fan base better than me because you know what I'm gonna say. But one of the reasons I never got into the show is because I don't really like Eugene.
Fair.
And it was really, really hard to get into because of that. And I don't remember for sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I had a problem with him the first time I watched this movie. Second time I watched it, I didn't care. So he's grown on me. The movie did well on that front.
I think. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like maybe he had less to do in the movie than he usually does in the show, or something. But I didn't mind him.
I think that Gene can be very funny, especially in certain episodes. I think Gene can be very funny, but I do think he has the least ability to carry a story, if that makes sense.
100%. I don't think I must have started watching the show on like a Gene episode or something because like that's pretty much the reason I didn't watch it as like a teenager.
I really think that Gene can't carry a story as well as the other characters can, but which is why they I feel like they use all the main characters perfectly in this movie. Like Louise is obviously the star, which is the best choice because Louise is the best character. She has the most going on. She has the most dramatic weight to her. So they made Louise like the main character. Bob and Linda kind of have like the main subplot, and they're the kind of like other two main like emotional like cores of the movie besides Louise. And then like Tina and Gene both have their things going on, but Tina has a lot more going on than Gene, and Gene is mostly comic relief, which even though they give him like a little bit of an arc, I do think they perfectly utilize every main character here.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only thing I would have liked better is maybe more Bob, just to give H. John Benjamin like more stuff to do. But I think they utilized every character perfectly. What do you think, Hunter?
I agree. I really like what they do with Louise. I like what they do with Tina. I like what they do with Bob and Linda. I especially like what they do with Teddy because in the newer episodes, I think Teddy acts a little weird, and you might be able to elaborate on this better than I can, but in the movie, he felt more like he did like in the older episodes to me.
I was also going to say I really enjoyed how much they used Teddy. I remember really liking Teddy in all the episodes I've seen him in.
Teddy is a character that they can go a bit far with him and push him into like Bill Dauterive territory, which I don't like.
You'll have to
but
explain
I think
that to me after this.
King of the Hill, you know, like Bill.
Bill. Okay, sorry, I didn't know his last name.
They can push him into Bill Dauterive territory a lot, especially in like the more recent seasons. But they're getting away from that. They had a really good episode after the movie about with like Bob and Teddy that I really liked. But I think that they used Teddy really well in this movie. But let's see. I'm just kind of going through my notes here. I fucking love one thing that I have a huge fucking like boner for is like when they do like big movie versions of like the intro to like a TV show. Like I love the Simpsons movie one. I love the one in the Aqua Teen movie. And I really love the one they did here with like the burger ingredients like falling down and all the like it's like the intro. It's like the burger ingredients falling down and they have like that big like cinematic version of the theme. I fucking love it. We can break down like the multiple times that I saw this fucking movie because I saw it 5 times.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. Do it.
The first time was I was in the Outer Banks. I saw it at the single movie theater in the entire Outer Banks. I saw it alone. And I remember like I mean obviously I was excited for it. I've been looking forward to it for like 5 years at that point. But I remember sitting in the theater, and when they did like the drop of like all the burger ingredients and like the intro, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good shit. Like I knew from that moment onward it was gonna be fucking Kino. Like I knew it was gonna be good shit as soon as that moment happened. You saw it the exact same time I did, didn't you, Hunter?
Yes, and you actually helped fund that.
Oh, right. Because I
Um,
remember I called you, right?
yeah, we called when I was driving home because the theater, I have a theater in my town. My town's kind of small, rinky-dink. The theater in my town only plays 3 movies at once, and they will skip out on a bunch of movies, so they didn't
Yeah.
play the burger movie at all. I had to go like 30 minutes. I had to like a 30-minute drive to see this movie.
But I remember so vividly getting out of that movie and getting on the phone with you because I was like another 40-minute drive back to where I was actually staying. So I got on the phone with you and we just talked about the movie. It was like a proto version of this podcast. We just talked about how much we loved the movie. It was so good. It was such a good day. Um,
That was which time you saw it? I'm sorry.
that was the very first time I saw it.
That was with me, right?
No, it was with Hunter. I saw it in the Outer Banks.
Oh, that's why I got okay. That's why I got confused with the time that you and that Eli and I went because I thought that was your first time seeing it too.
No, because the second time is when like me, Alex, and like all of our friends went to go see it at the Alamo Draft House.
Yes, that's when I remember seeing it.
But I have a like I will get like if it's like a Marvel movie, I don't care, but or if it's a Marvel movie I don't care about, like I don't care, but like I knew if I saw this with like 10 people, I was going to be stressed out trying to like wrangle them,
Yeah,
you know?
I remember now. Yeah.
So that's why I made. That's also it was going to be like I think I saw like 2 days afterwards at Alamo, but like I needed to see it the day it came out, and I needed to see it like either alone or with like one other person because I could not deal with the stress of like getting like our entire friend group in one theater. You know what I mean?
hmm
But so we went to Alamo Draft House, and they had a fucking Bob's Burgers menu, which was really cool. We all got stuff off the Bob's Burgers menu.
Was really fucking good too.
You got the margarita, didn't you? Like the sangria.
Yeah, I got like it was like I'm not a red wine guy, but I got some sangria and I'm pretty sure it had a red wine in it and it was actually really really good. I got drunk on accident.
Did you get the burger?
Yes, absolutely. I know
Yeah,
I know at first I was considering not getting the burger, but
Yeah.
because I wanted like the chicken sandwich or something, I don't know. But it was
I got the chicken sandwich. I wasn't like super into the burger. It was like it was like confused with like glazed onions or something, right?
see, then I definitely got it because I love onions and stuff like that.
I mean, I'm pulling up like the special menu.
Mm.
Yeah, it was like they had the blackened chicken sandwich is what I got. They had the vegetarian burger and they had the glazed and infused burger, which was like it was like infused with bacon and like bourbon glazed caramelized onions and stuff like that. And they also had the wine train sangria, and also they had like loaded fries and stuff. It was really fun. It was a really cool little thing they did for that movie.
And it was I honestly remember it more than I remembered watching the movie the first time.
Yeah, I remember watching it with that crowd because that was the biggest crowd I saw it with. And a lot of it was really fun. A lot of the jokes like really landed. You could tell with that crowd that everyone there really loved the show.
hmm
And like I feel like a lot of the jokes landed really well with that crowd. But the following 3 times were not as fun. I saw it again by myself because it was like the Monday afterwards. I was like, I need to see this again. So I saw it again by myself. I think a week later, you and I saw it, Alex. Like we saw it again.
hmm
And then like a week after that, I took my mom and my brother to go see it. So I saw it 5 times in theaters, and fucking way too many times after that since then on like Blu-ray, DVD. I have the VHS of it. Fucking, but yeah. So what was the second time you saw it, Hunter?
Okay, so I wanted to bring this up. The second time I saw it was really interesting because I think the second time I saw it was like 2 weeks after the movie came out. I was the singular only person in the room watching it. So I was like live tweeting it to Bryce. I was like texting him as I was watching it.
I remember that. That was so fun.
Where how big were the crowds the other times you saw it? Because I think something that you're probably going to want to talk about is this movie didn't do as good as it could have in
Yeah.
theaters, but it really made up for it when it came to streaming and did really well on there.
Yeah, I think they had like there was never a point where I saw it in an empty theater. There was always like in between 5 to 10 people, even at the last time I saw it. Um, but yeah, so I read this article. I don't I'll try to find it again and maybe post it on our Twitter, but it was like this thing where they knew that the movie because the movie did not I don't even think it made back its budget, or maybe it like just barely made back its
Oh,
budget.
it's
I'm gonna
kind of
pull
that's
it up
kind of
on
nuts.
Wikipedia. I mean, movies don't do that. Movies do that all the time. They released it against that fucking shitty military propaganda movie Top Gun. Budget is 38 million, box office 34.2 million. So it did not make its money back.
I made the joke, people on Twitter or just online in general were like saying if you like 2D animation, if you want more 2D animation in theaters, go see this. And I think I made the joke where I took a picture of the empty theater room and I just captioned it, I single-handedly saved 2D animation, guys.
That's actually really fucking funny.
So it did not make its budget back, but I saw this article saying that fucking I saw this article saying that like they knew it wasn't gonna make its budget back. Like Fox/Disney knew that, but they knew it was going to like be profitable for them via streaming. And it's like it's on Hulu. It's gonna be on Hulu forever. It's also they licensed it to HBO Max as well. I'm pretty sure it's still even they just changed it to Max or whatever the fuck. Pretty sure it's still on Max. But so yeah, it's on Hulu and HBO Max. It's in like the like if you click on the Bob's Burgers show page, it'll like there's like a button to take you to the movie and stuff.
Speaking of
Um,
Max,
Yeah.
did they really make it like a separate app on the App Store and stuff?
Yeah,
Yes, and,
That's.
and I can't get it on any of my TVs.
Oh, you just straight up can't get it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
alright.
just like just
Classic.
like the launch of HBO Max.
Is that when we watched the Snyder Cut, or was that just crashing independently of all that?
A little bit of both.
That's funny as fuck.
And we fell asleep during the Snyder Cut because the only thing I hate worse than the military is the Snyder Cut.
That was insane. Yeah, no, I forgot we fell asleep. Every single person that was watching that movie with us all fell asleep.
Yeah, because Zack Snyder's a hack. And
And we
fucking
woke
sucks.
up. We woke up like an. I'm sorry, this is unrelated, but it was like three. It was just the three of us, right?
Yeah,
We were me, Bryce, and our friend Julian were watching the Snyder Cut, and we all independently of each other fell asleep during it and woke up like 2 hours into it. And Bryce, he just sat up. I was like, "Hey, Bryce, we fell asleep," and he sat up and he was like, "Fuck this!" He turns it off. He's like, "We're going home."
yeah. 'Cause, like that's when we were living together, right?
I think so. Yeah, it was funny. You were like, "Get in the car. We're going home."
Yeah, because I was like, we're going back to our fucking apartment. Fuck this.
It was so
'Cause,
fucking
like,
funny.
fuck the Snyder Cut. Fuck Zack Snyder. But so yeah, so they made enough money on streaming or however that works. They need to look at that article again. It was but like they really it's not like a Powerpuff Girls scenario where like the Powerpuff Girls movie bombed really hard and because of that, Cartoon Network has yet to make another like another original theatrical movie that wasn't backed by like DC. So it's not like one of those scenarios because it did okay. They kept on saying in the special features that they want to be they want to make a sequel. I would love a sequel. I would love if this becomes like like the 2020s equivalent of like the Rugrats movies. They make like 3 of them. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I would love it. What would you want to see in a sequel, Hunter?
There was a this half joke, half serious that we used to talk about where I don't know if this is what I would want to see, but you said like a sequel idea is they go to Alaska and meet the Great North family.
That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, do like a like the fucking Rugrats Meet the Wild Thornberrys movie. Like I think that's the joke we made.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I like that. There was a Reddit post back when people were theorizing what the plot of the movie was going to be, like this movie, and someone said it would be like a like a chase across the country with all the side characters to get like a year's worth like of rent or whatever. I think that would be really fun and a great way to involve all the side characters. because they use the side characters well enough, and they talk a lot on the commentary and like special features about how they don't like about how they wanted to use more of the side characters but didn't want to like detract from the story. So I would love if a second movie would be able to incorporate the side characters in a more like organic way like that, because I really do love like all the side characters in this show that we don't really get that much of in this movie.
Can we talk about Jimmy Pesto not really
Absolutely.
being in the movie?
Absolutely. So obviously the big thing with Jimmy Pesto is that his voice actor, Jay Johnston, fucking sucks. He was at the Capitol riots. Very, very unfortunate. But he's in this movie in the background, and I feel like he probably had lines that they cut out because when the sinkhole opens up, you see him come out of the restaurant and you see him like smile, like he's about to say something, then they cut away from it.
When this movie was taking forever to come out, wasn't one of your theories that Jimmy Pesto played like a big role in it and they didn't want to like put him in they didn't want to like put him in a movie and release it after what happened?
I floated that around. I don't know if I really believed it that hard, but I did think it's possible that he was gonna be like the main antagonist of the movie, and they had to rewrite around that. But I really don't think that was the case at any point now after seeing this movie. Like I don't think he ever played a huge role in this movie. You do see him. Something I noticed like the second time I watched this movie is that during like the montage, like the time skip, not time skip, like the time lapse montage of like Bob staring at the hole, you do see Pesto and Trev walk up and like high five and walk away, which I think is very funny. Um, let's see what else is in here. Oh yeah, the Gene's thing is the Itty Bitty Ditty Committee, which is from an episode in season 5 of the same name. So they do that's another element from the show they bring back in this movie. Um, I do like that element. I wish they gave Daryl and Rudy more to do because I love both those characters, but I like that element. Let's see what else. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that I thought they were gonna do, but they didn't, which I think is fine. Like during Gene's fantasy, he like points at the crowd and was like, "Hey Ken, you made it." I thought they were gonna show Ken the first time I saw this. Do you either of you know about? I know Alex is a hundred. Do you know about Ken?
Yeah, it's his imaginary albino friend that they're kind of vague about of whether or not he exists, but he doesn't.
Yeah, and Gene says it's like weird because we watched season 1 and Gene says in season 1 he's 27 and Bob's like, "You can't have a 27-year-old albino friend, Gene. I'm not allowing it." Like he's just mad at him. But I thought they were gonna show Ken the first time I saw this movie, but they didn't. Oh, another thing they do is in season 12, like the season before this movie, they change. Louise gets a lofted bed. Like they changed that, so she gets like a lofted bed instead of like the one she has for the first 11 seasons, and they changed that in the movie. Where like when you see her doing like the meeting with her toys, she's on like the new updated lofted bed, which I think is a really nice touch. That like they didn't have to do that, but they did it. I think it's really cool. Um, so let's talk about that fucking skeleton scene.
Oh yeah.
That scene is fucking insane.
Yeah.
When she's like, they go into the hole and she tries to climb out of it, and she pulls the skeleton out of the mud, and like it falls on her, and the teeth fall in her mouth.
It's like gross.
It's insane. Like that's another thing that I feel like the show wouldn't really do. It goes. I mean, it takes big swings for Bob's Burgers because it's like that's genuinely kind of traumatic, you know?
Oh yeah. No, that's just terrifying.
Like, she had a skeleton fall on her, and like I do like it's just I think that entire scene is so cool. I think Kristen Shaw brings it. I think everybody in this movie brings it. Everybody in this movie brings their A game. But Kristen Shaw really fucking brings it. Like the scream in that scene, like it's so good. The animation is so good. Like I fucking there's a really good shot too when she's like about to go into the hole, and like it's just like from like the back, and you see like the town behind her and stuff, and like during like the kind of like the moon like lighting up the street. It's so good. And I also love the shot just like the push in on her just like screaming her fucking head off. It's like a horror movie shot, and it's so cool. Like it's such a well done scene. It's one of the best scenes in the movie, I think.
It's yeah, the whole thing is. You talking about which scene we're talking about? I'm sorry, you cut it a little bit.
The just like the scene with Louise and like the whole like the skeleton falling on her.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I love Kristen Schaal.
I love Kristen Schaal
So
too. She's great in
I
everything.
I was gonna say, I was always gonna think that she was the best, one of the best characters. I'm sorry, my phone is exploding. Give me a second.
We can also get into like the how this movie is like an Adult Swim movie, you know? Like because obviously like we talked about last episode about how all the major players are like Adult Swim guys, like H. John Benjamin, like Eugene Merman, Kristen Shaw, all those guys do like Adult Swim stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then also all the major players in this movie are also Adult Swim guys. Like I like didn't know this, and I like disagree with you, which made me very stupid in hindsight. I didn't think that Grover was the warden from Super Jail, but he very much is. Grover is played by David Wayne, who also does the character Courtney on the show, who's like Gene's girlfriend. We see Courtney in the background of a few scenes. Also, so the David Wayne is obviously Grover. He's like the main villain, and you know like his song, the Not That Evil song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know the dances he does in that.
A lot of his body movement in the movie looks hilarious.
He like so one of the special features they talk about is like they had to have like a real person do references for every dance in this movie, and David Wayne himself did all of the Grover dancing. Like there's videos of him on the bonus features of him doing like all the dances from the movie. Like it's awesome.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that when I watched all the special features. That was great.
Yeah, David Wayne, the main character of Super Jail, was also in this. The main character of Harvey Birdman is in this. He's the detective, Sergeant Bosco. So we have Gary Cole in this movie. Zach Galifianakis, he's an Adult Swim guy. He's on Tim and Eric and stuff. Zach Galifianakis is even an Adult Swim guy. So it's just like so many major players in this are like Adult Swim people that you don't see in movies that often. Like there's no other movie that's gonna come out in the past couple years. You can sit there and be like, oh yeah, here's H. John Benjamin, Eugene Merman, David Wayne, Gary Cole, like all these like famous Adult Swim guys. Like that's what really one of the main reasons that really sold it to me. Obviously, I love Bob's Burgers, but like I was so excited because this is before the three movies were announced. Because this is like this movie was announced before the three movies were announced, like the Aqua Teen Venture and Metal movie. So I was so excited to see like these Adult Swim characters like come to life because I watched so much of this show on Adult Swim when I was younger. You know, like
That's where I got a lot of my viewing. I guess that's where I got a lot of my viewing in for this too, was just seeing it on Adult Swim, because I used to have Adult Swim on pretty much every night, regardless of what was on.
yeah.
See,
It's on like every night.
I was a Nick at Night kid for the most part, unfortunately.
Boo.
I was a big George
Boo.
Lopez
Go
fan.
watch Glenn Martin DDS.
I fucking hate. I had the sense to hate that show as a kid. Don't worry.
We should do Glenn Martin DDS in the podcast.
Well, let's do it as a joke because it'd be funny as hell.
We're gonna hype it up as the Moral Oral episode, and then it's the Glenn Martin DDS episode.
Yeah, we're gonna market ourselves to the Moral Oral fan base, and then do the Glenn Martin DDS episode. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Let's get into the songs. What do you guys think of the songs in this movie?
I love them, especially Lucky Ducks.
I love them too. Alex, good.
No, finish your thought.
I was gonna say I love Lucky Ducks, but I think honestly, in retrospect, I think Sunny Side Up Summer might be better.
Sorry. No, so I'm not, as Bryce knows, I'm not a massive musical guy, but I do think a lot of the songs in this are cute, and I like it a lot. I do like the villain's song. I can't remember his fucking name, but I do like I do like his like final song that he gets to sing.
Well, Hunter and I are definitely big fucking musical guys. We both like.
I've warmed up on them.
We both talked about this before. Is that like the fact that this movie was gonna be a musical it was like predestined for us to become obsessed with it because we're both big like. Obviously, Hunter, you and I are obsessed with the South Park movie and like the Steven Universe movie and the Doomstar Requiem and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we are big fucking musical fans, and so I was so excited for this. I wish there was more. That's the only thing I wish I could say is that like because the first thing we knew about it was a musical, and there's really only 4 songs. I do wish there was like at least 2 or 3 more, but I do think that every single song is a banger. Like all 4 of them are fucking massive bangers, and I think that's like an accomplishment. Um, Sunny Side Up Summer should have won the Oscar for Best Original Song. I have no idea how it didn't.
Did this movie
Like
win any
actually,
awards?
huh?
Did this movie win any awards?
No.
It
Interesting.
won my heart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it won
was
my heart.
this was a good movie. This is better than the Simpsons movie.
Oh, for sure. We'll get into that too. But I think that like Sunny Side Up Summer was amazing. It deserves to win like the best song of the award. Pretty sure the thing that beat it was like some fucking like unrelated pop song that played in the credits of like Avatar 2 or Top Gun or some bullshit like that. Like it wasn't even like an actual song.
That's
you
funny
know?
as fuck. I'm sorry.
It is funny, but it's just stupid.
Yeah,
like
no, that's awful. That sucks.
this Sunny Side Up Summer is especially like the last like minute and a half from like Louise's verse up until like when all the harmonies come together. It's fucking Kino. It's so good. Like I never get tired of it. It's probably my favorite song from the movie. Lucky Ducks is also great. I love that it's basically just like the second half is just Louise's song. Not That Evil is great. I remember watching it out because like Not That Evil goes on for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it is
Like
a long song.
it goes on a while. I remember watching it and I'm like, how is this? I remember the first time I watched this movie thinking, how is this going to be on the soundtrack? Like I didn't get it. I was like, how are they going to get this entire thing on the soundtrack? Because they kept on cutting back to just like scenes of them talking in the middle of the song. But it's on the soundtrack. I think it's let me see how long it is on this like the actual minute count on the soundtrack. Um It is okay. It's not. It's 5 minutes and 42 seconds long on the soundtrack. But
First time I saw this movie, I could not make out like half of what he was saying during Not That Evil, and then every
yeah,
time I've watched it since, I've been like, oh, I get this now.
yeah. I really like the ending song too. Like the song that they sing at like the band shell that translates into like the credit song and stuff. I love that song a lot. I think it's very upbeat. It also sounds like because like especially the credit song, the chorus it's just H. John Benjamin and the other characters, but like H. John singing in his falsetto voice, so it sounds like a Lucy opening, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like it sounds like the Burger Bun song. It sounds like a Lucy opening because it's just H. John Benjamin singing in like that high pitched voice. But like they have this full orchestra behind it, which is another thing. It's like it's so cool to see this Adult Swim stuff like come to the big screen like that. You know, like seeing this like scrappy Adult Swim stuff just come to the big screen and have like H. John Benjamin singing in falsetto with like a full like orchestra behind it, and it's like genuinely like emotional. You know. I love the credits too. I love everything in the credits, all the characters dancing and stuff like that. I think that stuff's all really cute and fun. You get to see a lot more of the characters that weren't really in the movie, which I think is really fun.
Oh, the outro, yeah. The credits.
I just love the outro. It's really good. The entire movie is animated really well. Everyone's so fluid. Like the shadow, like the shading is so good. Everyone's so fluid. Oh yeah, also Paul F. Tompkins, who is the Blue Morpho in the Venture Brothers. He's Mr. Peanut Butter and BoJack Horseman and everything. He's like the main Carney in this movie. Not Cotton Candy Dan, but like the main like living Carney. And he like
The one
sings
that they're like friends with.
No, not Mickey. Like the guy who starts off the Lucky Duck song.
Oh.
And he like chases them and stuff. If you listen to it, you'll hear the Mr. Peanut Butter.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and listen.
He's in this movie. Mickey is in this movie, but Mickey is not played by Bill Hader anymore. I have no idea why. Bill Hader's too fucking busy making Barry. He can't be on Bob's Burgers anymore, I guess. So they got a replacement for Bill Hader, which is it's noticeable the first time, but the guy does a really good Bill Hader impression, so you don't really hear it afterwards. It doesn't bother me. It bothers a lot of people. Like I went on the Letterboxd for this movie, and so many of the reviews are people complaining about Bill Hader not being Mickey in this movie, but like it's fine.
That is
like it
astoundingly stupid.
It sounds enough like him. It's fine.
It's also
You know?
it's also dumb as shit. Period. I don't know if
Yes.
maybe
It's
just as someone who like didn't who doesn't watch the show, but that's stupid as fuck.
it's a dumb complaint, but like he sounds enough like Bill Hader. Like it's fine. Um, let's see what else is going. Oh yeah, like you said, your favorite joke is the thing with like Felix and Fanny. My favorite joke in this movie is when they're in like the awesome clubhouse area, and then like Bob and Linda fall down, and they kind of cut back to how they got in there, and Linda just like they walk in, and Linda just goes, "Yay, buttons!" and pushes all of them, and they fall in. That's my biggest laugh every single time I watch this movie. That scene is so fucking funny. What was your biggest laugh, Hunter?
Um, this is kind of a cheap laugh, but I like when Linda punches Bob in the nuts twice in a row because I feel
That is
like they would never do that in the show.
that is very funny. Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, I love that entire last. I think that set, like that's underneath like the molehill set, is so cool with like that like crazy ass room they're in for like 20 minutes. I think that set's really cool.
Oh no.
Go ahead.
I'm changing my vote. My favorite joke is actually when they announce Cotton Candy Dan died on the news, and then Linda is like, "Is he the one who sold corn dogs?"
That one's
Oh,
good too.
that
That one's funny.
I didn't have a favorite joke besides the one with Felix's girlfriend, but
Yeah.
there were a lot of moments where I caught myself just going like,
Yeah.
but it was great. Like the entire movie was just constant.
I love that set. Also, Grover is like astoundingly evil in this fucking movie. Like he was going to like let the Belchers. He was gonna like drown the Belchers, and then he ends up burying them alive. Like he is like shockingly evil
Yeah,
for like a Bob's Burgers
he's just
villain.
committing like real life felonies.
Yeah, like he actually tried to kill the entire family. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, you don't like
Um,
think about it, but like that's what happened.
I also love that insane scene where he's like crawling through like that little hole and he looks like a little fucking like spider,
Yeah,
like a gecko.
I mean they made him like threatening despite how fucking dorky he is, you know.
Yeah. I just love that piece of animation of him just like doing like a little fucking gecko walk through like that little tunnel.
I
So
love that
funny.
too.
So funny. Fucking but yeah, I love that entire chase scene too in the underpier. It's such a cool cinematic set. It's like that scene of them like running away from Grover in like the go-karts and stuff. It's such like a nice it's just a cinematic set too, like that underpier thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Oh, that
so-
entire thing, I love all of that.
yeah, that sequence is really cool. And like it ups the stakes in a really natural way, I think. Whereas like it could very easily like go beyond the scope of what the show normally does, but I think it ups the stakes in a very good natural way. Um
It's a very smartly made movie. That's not the right fucking way to say that, but like it's a
yeah.
very smart movie, and you can tell that everyone really cared a lot about
They
making it.
I kind of think about this every time I watch this movie. They had to find a reason to get Teddy out of the movie for a little while because if he was in that scene, he would have just fucking murdered. He would have just gone apeshit and just murdered Grover.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
Something I like about Grover is even though he's definitely the biggest, most evil like villain they've ever had to do, it doesn't lose the like humanness of
Yes.
the show that they have,
Yep.
where there's the part where he's talking about his plan, where he's gonna like go to the gym and say he's been there for 3 hours, and they're all like, "Oh, you don't have 3 hour gym bod." Where it's not like they're so scared of him that they're not gonna like rip into him still.
Yeah, he manages to be like threatening, but they never lose like the Bob's Burgers-ness of it, which I think is awesome. Um so we can also talk about the stuff with Bob's mom and Louise's hat, obviously. I loved the stuff with Bob's mom in this movie. I think we talked about this last episode, Hunter, but like there's a musical cue they play in the pilot episode of Bob's Burgers where like Bob is when he's like standing outside the restaurant looking at the window, and he's just like completely defeated, and they get him to come in because like it's the pilot episode. It's that scene, you know that scene. But they play that exact musical like tone here in the flashback scene with his mom, which is like an amazing callback, and I love that. I think it's such a good little scene. I just love that, like, because like Bob's mom is something that's been kind of hanging over the series that they never really addressed, and I love that like they've started addressing it more in this recent season, like the season after the movie. But I love that this sort of opened up the floodgates, and I think it's such a great touch to like really like do this for the first time in the movie. And I also love the story behind Louise's ears. Were you wishing they were gonna show her without the ears, Hunter?
Yeah, but I completely understand why they didn't.
I thought they would. I really thought when she was like reaching out to get the fuse that when she fell it was gonna fall off and she had to choose. I thought it was gonna be she had to choose between the hat or like getting the fuse, but I'm really glad what they did because the hat falls off, but we don't see it, and I really like that the writers and the show and like the showrunner stuff, they respect the character enough to not show us that, if that makes sense. Like they have it happen to show her character growth, but they respect the character enough to not like show the audience, if that makes sense to you guys.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think
I think it's really sweet.
pretty much the only thing I have to say about Bob's mom and all that is not the first time I watched it, but the most recent time, like yesterday. Mm-hmm. The scene specifically where they show her and she like looks down at Bob, I think it lasts like 3 seconds. Reminded me of Brendan's mom in
yes.
I don't know why, because they didn't have her talk or anything, but like just the energy they did, it was cool. Like I'm glad that we did the home movies episode before this because I wouldn't have caught that otherwise, but it felt like Brendan's mom.
Did she remind you of Paula, Hunter?
I never thought of that, but now that Alex brings it up, I definitely see it.
I always think
like
about Paula.
It's just like the energy that she has, if that makes any sense.
She looks a little bit like Paula.
I guess she does look like her too then, but it's hard to say anybody looks like the characters in the show.
Yeah, I think she looks a bit like Paula, but I do get that Paula vibe too from that, which I do love. I don't think they've ever shown her in a way where she speaks. If they do, I would love if they got Janine Tutullo to do that voice. I think that would be really, really sweet.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But yeah,
I
love. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think she's ever. I know she writes on Metal. Oh, she did write a Metalocalypse 10 years ago. I don't know if she still voice acts or not.
Huh? Yeah, that'd be cool.
I love the ending. I love when they do like that little like reprise of the main theme when they reopen the restaurant and stuff like that. It's just a fucking all around banger. Like I really couldn't ask for a better movie. I think this really does get to like the peak of like what a Bob's Burgers movie can be. I think they made like the best movie possible. You know.
I can't think of a way to improve it, so I agree. That made it sound like I think it wasn't that good of a movie. It was a very good movie. Like I think that this was the best they could have done.
This joins the ranks of like the SpongeBob movie, the first South Park movie, the first Beavis movie, the Aqua Teen movie, the Steven Universe movie. Like this joins the ranks of like these all-time greats for me, I think.
I've only seen half of those, but the ones that I've seen, definitely they're the same quality. Like this is at least as good as the SpongeBob movie.
What about you, Hunter?
Yeah.
Agree. I think my favorites, which are all ones you've listed, are the first SpongeBob movie, Beavis and Butthead to America, and South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. I think I view it on the same level as those.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the SpongeBob movie is actually a really good comparison. I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
But like in terms of how good the movie is compared to the show in particular, because the first 4 seasons of SpongeBob, or whatever, 3 seasons of SpongeBob,
yeah,
are like immaculate television.
Yeah.
And the movie is like a perfect capstone to that.
Yes.
And I feel like the Bob's movie is the exact same thing for the Bob's Burgers. Although, I haven't really watched the recent stuff, but as far as I know, it didn't immediately get awful after the movie came out.
No, I think this season's been really good, actually. This season just ended. It's been 1 season after the movie. They updated the intro, so now it has, like, the sinkhole in it.
Which is awesome. That's cool.
Yes. I think the season was really good. And I think they're taking stuff they did in the movie and like building on it in the show, which I think is like not necessarily in like a direct way, but in a more like emotional way. Like they're taking these arcs and building on them in the show, which I think is really fun.
This is the last thing I'll say, since I know you guys already did an episode on the show. But do you think that the post movie season was better than the average pre movie season? It's okay if the answer's no.
I think it was. I don't think it was as good as like the first 8 or so seasons, but I think it was better than the seasons they made when they were working on the movie. If that makes sense.
Cool.
I think it was there. One thing I said is because Bob's Burgers, despite being a very wholesome show, like a very like a very like cute show where the characters are nice to each other, they never really go. They, especially in the early stuff, they never went for those emotional moments like King of the Hill or Futurama did. And I always said like one of the main reasons why I was excited for this movie was to get more of that stuff, because they very rarely do it in Bob's Burgers, but they've been doing it a lot more, especially in this recent season, and I think it really works well, especially because we have so much goodwill built up for these characters after like 13 seasons in a movie. So I think they're building on like the stuff we like with these characters.
I might watch Bob's after this. We'll see.
It's good. So I'm gonna go through some of like the extras, because the extras are so revealing. So the genesis for this movie they talk about is because back in the early 2010s, H. John Benjamin cartoons tended to have live shows for some reason. Like both Bob's Burgers and Archer would go on like tours around the country where the cast would show up and they would do like table readings and like joke around and stuff. It was like Archer live and Bob's Burgers live, essentially.
That's cool.
Like
I never knew about that.
Yeah. So at a Bob's Burgers live show, they did one in LA where they they made like 20-foot tall puppets, and they had like a whole band, and they shot off like confetti cannons and stuff, and they're getting so into making like the spectacle of doing this like huge show, and they got a call from 20th Century Fox that was like, hey, do you guys want to do the movie? And they're like, yes, because they're so into like the spectacle they were doing. They're like, fuck yes, let's make a movie. And so that's sort of like the genesis. This like goes back to like that Bob's Burgers live stuff from like the early 2010s. Something they talk about, which I also really like, is that a lot of movies will like leave the central location. Like a lot of movies will have the characters leave the town they're in, but this does the opposite. Instead, it kind of folds inward, where like it shows you more of the town and it goes deeper on locations you already know, which I think is a really cool way to like do this kind of movie. They had so many cut scenes from this movie. Like they only have 3 deleted scenes, which are okay, but they had a whole subplot about Bob and Linda going to the district attorney, which is gonna turn out to be like the Speedo guy from the show, like the guy who like goes around in a Speedo on skates and stuff. They had scenes at Mickey's trailer. They had a funeral scene for Cotton Candy Dan that was gonna be in Mort's funeral home. You're gonna love this, Hunter, if you don't already know about this. Where it was going to turn out that Linda's sister, Gail, was going to be at the funeral because she went on one date with him and she was acting like they got like married or whatever. She was going to have like a black veil on and everything like that, which I think is really, really funny and really on brand for that character. And I honestly kind of would have liked to seen that scene, even though I hate Gail. I would have loved to seen that scene.
I remember watching that. It's funny.
Like that's such a funny like, well, like it's such a good, like it's such a no-brainer for me that when they said it I was like, oh yeah, of course, like of course that would happen, that's perfect. What else is in here? They had there's a kind of an alternate, you don't really see anything but like visuals. There's an alternate take of like the sinkhole opening up where like Mr. Fischoeder is in the restaurant and Tina like opens up the door and like the water from the pipe like splashes her in the face, which I think is interesting that because that scene is so different from what it is in the movie.
Yeah.
There was going to be there was initially going to be like an anime fight between Louise and Chloe, the girl bullying her, like in like Louise's fantasy with like nunchucks and like katanas and shit, but they cut that. Initially during the go-kart chase, like the ground was collapsing into the ocean beneath them, which added more stakes to it, which is cool. Also, something that really intrigued me is, like the shot when they leave the restaurant to run back to the molehill.
Yeah.
Like, there's an alternate version of that shot in like they do like a featurette where they go over like they show various deleted scenes and just talk over it, and like they show like two shots of like a different version of that scene where there's like 15 characters. It's like the Belchers and like 10 side characters with them, including Gale with like a fake goatee on for some reason. I have no idea like what version of the movie that's from, but I really want to read it. Like I really want to read like earlier versions of this script that had like more stuff like that in it. Um
Something they talk about on the special features is the reason that they don't get into the side characters so much is they felt like it would take away from like the main heart of the movie.
mhm.
I think it's fine.
Yeah,
That's a
definitely.
fine choice too.
Yeah. I really don't think they'll get a sequel. I really want them to get a sequel because I would just fucking love this movie so much. I'm also a big proponent for any adult cartoon getting a movie. Like, give me the American Dad movie, give me the Family Guy movie, give me the Rick and Morty movie. Like, give it all to me. Um, but yeah, so the last thing we can do to wrap this up is we can talk about how we feel about this movie versus the Simpsons movie.
This is much better. I don't know if I have anything more intelligent to say than that. Like, the
You got
Simpsons,
anything, Hunter?
Simpsons movie's like fine, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
But fine is not a word that I would use to describe the Bob's Burgers movie.
Yeah,
But the Bob's Burgers movie is a good movie.
absolutely. You got anything, Hunter?
Simpsons movie, where I know you're gonna have the same feelings as I do on this, is very nostalgic. Like I saw it in theaters as a kid. I have an
Same.
interesting story where my one of my aunts used to go on business trips to China, and she brought back a bootleg Simpsons movie DVD
Hell yeah.
while it was in theaters here. I had a bootleg Chinese
Do you still
DVD
have
of it.
that? Do you still have it?
No, I don't, unfortunately. I have the actual Blu-ray for it.
That's cool.
That's fucking
But
sick.
I watched and rewatched it so many times. I made everyone watch it. I made my disgruntled grandparents who hated The Simpsons watch the movie. But the Simpsons
What do you
movie,
think of the Bart skating scene?
oh, they hated it.
Why
But
were they just like just not their thing?
yeah.
That's funny.
But I've seen that movie, like the back of the box of the physical release. I think it has the quote, "I'd be willing to watch it 20 or 30 more times." I have actually done it with that movie.
Yeah,
I'll
same.
say I'll say I think the Simpsons movie is funnier than the Bob's Burgers movie, but the Bob's Burgers movie is more genuine and heartfelt, and it does better service to the characters. It's a better story.
Yes. I think the Simpsons movie is funnier. The Simpsons movie, although is like it's such a weird fucking like it's such a weird Frankenstein creature, you know? Like
I'd have to rewatch the Simpsons movie to know if it was funnier.
I think the Simpsons movie is fucking hilarious, and I do actually like that movie, and I have a huge soft spot for it. But I also think that it's not a good Simpsons movie.
Yeah, like it's fine.
You know,
It's fine.
like one of our first experiments with like from like 2020 was our first experiments of podcasting is when the three of us plus our other friend Grayson who's on the Fully Cooley episode, we just talked about the Simpsons movie for like 2 hours. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's like the pilot. If you
Yeah,
really
that's like
want,
the
if you
genesis of
really,
the
yeah,
show-
if
the
you
show.
really want a pilot, that's the pilot.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
when you
genesis of
opened
the
the mummy shirt, right?
Oh my god, yeah, cause I bought like a fucking gift set from the movie came out of like
From
it's
like
like the
'07 or '06 or
yeah
whatever it was.
'07 of like the movie, and like it was like a sealed T-shirt, and we had like we pre-gamed this fucking movie. We're such fucking dorks. We got some like Simpsons Kid Robots, and we opened them up.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I remember that. We recorded it and everything.
Yeah, it was like Halloween. We got like Simpsons Kid Robots. We opened them up.
I still have mine on my
I
desk
still
right
have
here.
mine.
Mine's on my desk right here.
I have my we had my Simpsons 7-Eleven Slurpee cups that we ate popcorn out of. And I opened up the T-shirt, and it was like this fucking disgusting
It was
mummy.
so
Like
bad. It was. Because the shirt was like very, very tightly wrapped up for like 14 years. It was fucking disgusting.
And I put it on, and it felt like sandpaper.
Yeah, it was so bad. And we had it like hang in the dorm in Bryce's closet for the rest of the semester, and it never straightened out at all.
It's on my wall. I still have it hanging up. It never straightened out.
That's funny.
I'll take a picture after this and send it. I'll probably post it on Twitter after this episode comes out.
Yeah, do it. That's funny.
Like, it's still up there. It never straightened out. It's just, and every time I try to put it on, it's disgusting.
Do you still try to put it on?
Like, I put it on a few times to see if it's still disgusting.
Every once in a while, you'll be like, will it work? I feel like if you washed it at this point, it would kind of just fall apart.
Yeah, if you put it in the washer, it's gonna, like, crumble to fucking dust. But yeah, so I think this is a much better movie. I think this gives... This movie does a much better service to its characters than the Simpsons movie does, because the Simpsons movie, like, not to turn the Simpsons movie podcast that already exists, but, like, having Lisa have, like, a fucking one-off boyfriend for the movie, like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, this movie does such a better service to its character, even if I do think the Simpsons movie is funnier, but this movie does everything right that the Simpsons movie does wrong. I think the Simpsons movie, like, it looks good, but so much of it, especially like the last act of the Simpsons movie, all the characters don't look like the right shade of yellow. They look so, like, sickly and gross. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, this movie just looks so beautiful compared to, like, that. This is just the better movie in every single way imaginable. Oh god, fucking Simpsons movie, dude. We may have to do it again.
Oh, I'll do it again.
I'll do it again.
Because, like...
Did you do it with us last time, Hunter?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember that. I don't doubt it, but I don't remember that. That makes me sad. We definitely need to do it again, then.
Hunter.
Yes.
So much of our quarantine was us talking about the fucking Simpsons movie.
It was a lot of it.
The one thing I noticed when we rewatched that movie for the podcast, which this baffles me, Lard Lad is the wrong color, and he never shows up with that color scheme again in anything.
Who's Lard?
Why does he look like that?
Who's Lard Lad?
He's like the mascot for, like, the donut place.
Okay.
This is also around the time when Hunter coached me through playing the Simpsons game, which is, like, it's not the official movie tie-in, but it's pretty much the movie tie-in, right?
Yeah, it was originally going to be, but then they changed it.
Hunter coached me through playing the Simpsons game on
that
PS2
was such a fucking experience.
in our dorms.
I would come.
And
sorry, finish.
it was just like it was awful. It was such an it's so fun in hindsight, but, like, it was such a grueling experience because that game's fucking hard. And I'm like horrible at video games.
You went through like a self-imposed fucking purgatory. Like, I would go somewhere and be back like 2 hours later, and you're still on the same fucking jump on that fucking game. And it would get to, like, I remember a couple times you would be like, Alex, you need to big brother this for me, bro, and just give me the controller.
I need you to big brother something in Mario for me next time we hang out.
Oh, I got you. I mean, I'm not good at Mario, so we'll see, but I got you.
I need you to big brother this fucking another jump in Mario Odyssey for me. But yeah, fuck. Like, I remember that. I remember also the Simpsons movie being such a monument to compromise, too, because, like, you listen to the commentary, and the entire commentary is just them being like, yeah, well, we had this great idea and this great joke, which would be perfect for the Simpsons movie, but then we took it to, like, a test audience. They didn't really like it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, also, biggest thing the Simpsons movie does that fucking sucks, they invited everyone back except for Bill and Josh.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Fuck that.
They focus grouped the movie to death, basically. All right, but we are just talking about The Simpsons now, though, just so you know.
Yeah, we had to end it shitting on the Simpsons movie because this is a much better movie.
We will do. I've decided. I'm not the main host. I've decided, though, we're doing another Simpsons episode.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about the Simpsons on here. Fuck you, Simpsons people, for not bringing Bill and Josh back. Bill and Josh are our fucking guys.
Those are our close personal friends.
Yeah, those are our close personal friends, Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein. I'm gonna get him to guest on the podcast eventually.
You say that,
okay,
dude, but we're gonna do it.
Do we have anything more to say about the Bob's Burgers movie?
It's good.
How long was it?
The movie,
Yeah,
like an hour and 42 minutes.
good length. That's probably
Yeah,
the last thing I'll say about
it's
it.
one of the longest. I love the. Oh yeah, one more thing. You know the short, like the My Butt Has a Fever short.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be attached to like Onward in 2020, I think. This was supposed to come out in like March 2020. Um, and then also that short was in theaters only at Alamo Drafthouse, only in front of certain screenings of Doctor Strange 2, and I actually saw it,
Huh. That's
which
cool.
is crazy. Like, cause like almost nobody actually saw that in theaters, but cause I was this is back when I was truly gang stalking this movie, and I was like, oh, they're gonna play this. Like, Eli, we have to go to Alamo Drafthouse to see Doctor Strange in case they played this short, and they fucking did. And Eli and I lost our minds. It was such a good
Was
experience.
I there with you
No, it was just me and Eli.
for Multiverse?
Yeah, you and I saw it at a different time.
Oh, we saw it at Regal.
Yeah,
We saw
we saw it at Paragon.
That's what
We
I
saw it
meant.
at
I
Paragon.
saw it. We saw the big boy, the upstairs lounge.
Yeah. No, that was the second time Eli and I saw. That was the second time I saw it was Eli when I saw because I liked Doctor Strange enough to see it again, but I was going there to see if I could get the short beforehand, and I did, which I was very happy about.
Cool. Multiverse is good as fuck. Good movie.
Yeah, good movie.
We need to do our Cape Shit episode too.
At some point, yeah. All right. So is that it? You got anything else?
I'm
I
done.
got nothing.
All right. Well, you can follow us on Twitter at @OwlsOnlyPod. You know the drill. You can follow me on Instagram, Adult Swim Merch Archive. I'm gonna spell it out for you. You can see the Steelbook that I was talking about. You can see all the other
mummy shirt.
all the other movie merch I have, all that kind of shit.
See the mummy shirt.
I have not posted it on there yet, actually, but I will. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll post it. When I post the thumbnail for this episode advertising it, that's gonna be like the second slide. You can swipe to it.
I
And
was
see, like,
gonna
the mummy
say,
shirt.
post it, be like, listen to this episode if you want to get what this is about.
Yeah, it'll be like the second slide. But yeah, you got anything else to plug, Hunter or Alex?
Follow our stuff, Hunter.
Follow the Owls Only Twitter and Instagram.
That's 3 fucking requests. You guys better do it now.
I know, right? I'm probably gonna take a break next week. I'm going on vacation.
Yeah, you've been hammering these out.
I'm not sick, but my allergies are kind of kicking my ass. If I do come back, I think obviously I'm gonna come back. When I do come back, I think I'm either going to talk to my friend to see if they want to do Metalocalypse maybe, or maybe we'll do something short like the first season of Dream Corp LLC or something like that. I don't know, but I'll probably be like 2 weeks in between this episode and the next episode. But yeah, see you guys next time.
See ya.
Goodbye.